teachers versus, I mean, like you said, someone could be there for a long time, but they might have old, like, traditional methods and ways of teaching. So yeah, I just like that point you brought up.
Yeah. I was actually reading another article, and it was discussing how much money was going toward professional development and smaller class sizes. Um, Saying that there needs to be more of a more federal guidance in how the money is being spent. So it says the title was Ensuring Title II Part 8 funds are used for student achievement gains. And it says the research shows that for professional development to have a chance at boosting student achievement, it must happen over an extended period of time in high value forms such as coaching or collaboration that are aligned with the goals for teaching and learning. So, saying it also says, I want to know, where do you think the most money should go? In reducing the class sizes, or should it go towards teacher professional development?
I definitely think it should go towards professional development. I feel like this is something we've learned about before, I've learned about in other classes, is that a lot of the reason teachers don't have this professional development is because they don't have, they're working for schools that are underfunded and can't provide them this. They're put in an unsafe classroom with, no resources, no materials, no technology, no mentorship, nothing like that. And you want to work in the school because these students they have the same thing, they don't have a lot of money for their education, so you want to help them, but at the same time you don't really have everything you need as a teacher to make your students and yourself happy. So I think reducing a class size isn't going to do much, but less students to work with, like that, I feel like that doesn't change anything. But I think this is one of the biggest problems in um, professional development and student achievement is the way that some schools receive almost no, like little to no money for resources. Teachers are buying things out of pocket, but besides that they just don't have the skills and training. Like these are the type of schools that don't have a lot of money are the same type of schools that hire those people that just got a 2-year degree online and are just ready to go and do the job, not actually be there and do everything else involved. So I think definitely more money needs to go to these schools and preparing these teachers. And, if they can cut down class sizes and make more classes, that works. But I think, the teachers, the resources, materials, that's the kind of stuff this money should be going straight to.
I agree. I mean, overall, it really does start with the educators. I mean, if you could have anybody in there teaching, however many students there are, but they're not going to get a good education if the teacher isn't where they should be with their own academics. So yeah, I definitely think professional development.
I also agree, and I think in the same article it says how efforts to reduce class size are ineffective in comparison to more focus on professional learning and development. And it said that shrinking the number of students in a class does not automatically translate into better learning. And I think that is so true because just like what you brought up, Morgan, um, for students to effectively learn, the teacher also needs to be qualified and also effective. And I remember learning in one of my previous classes about how even when a teacher wants to, um, let's say, work with a group of students who are struggling to read, they need to get a reading specialist, um, not just somebody from the outside to read to students and help them, but actually somebody who is focused and experienced in literacy and in that aspect. And so I think even just um, with that, with things like that, professional development is obviously um, more money should go towards that because I think that's what teachers need the most. And I feel like um, I think it is sad because a lot of urban schools are not able to get those funds and that money to actually get those teachers who can provide just good instruction for students. And so I think also in that area more things that need to be addressed to get underpaid schools to get those qualified teachers. And I think just overall, teachers should come out of training programs and educational programs and um, just be able to teach effectively to students.
Yeah. So like in the prompt we have to do, it says, in your discussions, as opposed to just sharing opinions, make sure you're grounding the points you make. So Morgan, you said this, and then June, you said it again, but I feel like it's really important. Morgan, I don't know exactly what you said, but you said something like the students can't get educated if the teachers aren't educated. And I feel like that is just really, it's so important and it's so true. You know, and it goes for a lot of different areas of development. I mean, you know, they're there to teach the academics, but if they're not also teaching the social and emotional and physical development skills of a child that age, the child's not going to succeed. You know, they might be super smart, but you know, teachers that young, students are growing and changing like at that age, primary grade age. Everything is changing. They're learning about social relationships, and you know, they're starting to I don't think, no, it's not this class. Another class I was just reading about primary grade ages, and it says students start to become, you know, insecure and realize about themselves and how others feel about themselves. And, you know, teachers are there to also model the behavior at this age and how to resolve conflicts. And you can't just have a teacher who's, like we've been saying, like got a certificate and is ready to come in. You know, if they're not educated, they cannot educate their students. And I feel like that's so important. And it really just kind of drives home why professional development will strengthen the education system, because, you know, future teachers will just continue to, you know, share these skills with one another and pass them down. And then they're using these skills, and they have students in their class who are going to, you know, go off to college and be teachers. And it makes everything better for the teachers and the students.
I really like how you emphasize the social and emotional aspect of learning because for the paper that we just wrote, I was just reading through the websites that we had to look through, and it did emphasize how because of remote learning and because of COVID-19, a lot of students have more social and emotional needs that teachers need to address when they return to school. And so I think even just understanding that, and I feel like remote learning also gave teachers a deeper insight into the students' lives in their homes. And so I think even for me, I was doing peer tutoring online, and I was kind of able to see the home environment that some of my students were living in. And I could just see how some of them, it was really chaotic in the background, but some of them were more quiet. And I think just understanding how each child is also so different, and just understanding the differences in that is also really important. And I feel like through those experiences, you'll gain more professional development even by observing your own students. And so, yeah, I think that's one good point to address.
How many times do you think teachers should have professional development in, say, a school year? And should that person giving the professional development visit the classes, say twice a month, to give the teacher something they can use in the classroom?
I feel like that's good, something like that, like once or twice a month. Maybe, you know, if they come every other week or something when the teacher starts like a new unit, and see, you know, what they're doing, how they're introducing it. And I feel like something that could be good is, instead of like a day-long observation, maybe you can start with like they observe them teaching, and then they observe their small groups the next week, and then they observe their large groups, you know, just kind of break it up. And they could do like maybe once a month they focus on a certain thing. It could just be like kind of like a teacher evaluation type of program. You know, once a year the teachers get a professional to come look at every aspect of their classroom, give them some tips to carry on, and then, you know, it happens again the next year. And I feel like it's something that even older teachers can benefit from, you know, because things are always changing. And if we have these professionals that are up to date on the new technology, I mean, I'm sure we have teachers that still don't use much technology in the classroom, but it is, you know, I've seen, especially now that everything's virtual, there's like Epic and, you know, things that read to you, and games you can play, and there's so much stuff. And I've seen a lot of students, like the place I work, in the school year, we held like a virtual thing for any students that go here that had siblings online classes, they could come here. So it was kindergarten through third grade. So at some points I got to see, you know, them in their Zoom calls and all these online things they're doing. And I feel like if you have somebody coming in, you know, if the school implemented some kind of like teacher preparation, teacher evaluation program with professionals, that would be really helpful to kind of just focus on specific things. And I feel like it would be important to do observation and then, you know, meet separately with the teacher after class, or have some kind of like regrouping with notes and like ideas and suggestions. And then, you know, the teacher, I mean, the professional could always even like come back the next day and see how they're implementing the ideas, like something like that.
I also think that's really important, and I think we also mentioned earlier just the importance of consistency with having professional development, because obviously development is over time, and so I think there needs to be that consistency and routine, and I think that will help strengthen the education system because, as Emily mentioned, everything is just constantly changing. Just how the kids that are entering into schools have carry different knowledges and experiences, and so I think just being courteous to that and aware of that is also really important. And so I think maybe like in the beginning of the year they come, and then at the end of the month, at the end of each month, they revisit the classrooms and kind of have that time to recuperate with all the teachers and even discuss with one another how they're doing different things, because I feel like teachers always have different advices and different experiences to share together. And so yeah, to answer your question, that was what I thought.
Okay, so I'm noticing we're coming up on our hour now. I only have an hour on here. I don't know if it'll turn off. Does anybody else want to add anything before we send it to the professor?
No, I mean, I think we covered most of the articles and the PowerPoints, and I feel like we talked a lot about, you know, evaluation in both development and the importance of them. I think we really covered like all the topics.
Yeah.
So do I. All right. Well, I'm going to stop recording.